he's almost proven himself by being put into that CEO leadership level. So he doesn't necessarily have to prove himself anymore. I mean, he's already there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the fact that he's being responsive to emails, trying to prove something. So obviously you had good success there. Was there anything else that you feel as though they have to change their?
So yes, I mean, there's various mindset issues that might you could get into around that. But then the next one is the behavior change, right? So behavior change is, how am I actually going to make a change in what I do? I'll give you there's plenty of things we could go into, but I'll just give you perhaps one to start with, which would be science people will put in their diary, like, I know, I'll block out time. I'll put an hour strategic thinking slot in my diary. And then people don't do it. Right. 9 out of 10 times they delete it, they move it, they just do their email. The reason is emails, for example, or a meeting or whatever, it's a really clear, defined activity set by somebody else. So you don't even have to think about what to do. You just pick up here's an email ready to reply to, or here's a meeting to attend. It's set by somebody else. It's all the work, all the definition has been happened. All you have to do is kind of like process it, and you get a nice little mental reward at the end.
Yeah, that's true. It's an easy win as well.
Exactly, it's an easy win, and it's there for you. And then if you compare that with this scary time called strategic thinking, which is undefined, you're not quite sure what success is going to look like at the end of this hour. You could quite easily waste this hour, perhaps, or you might, what are you going to do with it? It's this undefined, ambiguous thing. No wonder people run away from it. So what I like to say, it is a good idea to start to block out time, but start with start with like a 15-minute or 10-minute activity and be really clear about what it is. And if you don't know what it is, then set yourself a 10-minute task to brainstorm how I could use 15 minutes productively. What could I do? How if I was to have 15 minutes to think, what would I like to think about? And just make that your first task, thinking about what you want to think about.
Yeah, I love it.
And so let's imagine that you come up, but let's imagine that you say, oh, I know what I want to think about. I need to think about, how am I going to, what does each member of my team need to perform at a higher level? Let's just say, to take that example. Now, suddenly, you can put in a half-an-hour slot in your diary saying, for each of my 8 direct reports, brainstorm 3 to 5 things that I could do to help them perform at a higher level. That's now a piece of strategic thinking that you can do. It's defined, and when you've done it, and it will take you half an hour or whatever, and you can go, oh, I've got it. I've now got a first draft of what I could do. Or let me brainstorm 10 companies or research 5 companies that we could possibly acquire. Or let me write down the criteria. If we were to acquire a company, what would the 10 things that would have to be true?
Yeah.
Right. What would they be? That's the kind of thing that you can do. But if you write in your diary, just think strategically,